So just enjoying where you want to start this evening, lying down or seated. And just thinking about your day, whether it's been busy, physically or mentally hectic. And just welcoming this time, this space that we have to ourselves. It's so precious. Precious time to inquire about our body, our breath, our mind. And just being present with who we are and where we are in the moment. Because as time ticks on, we will change. So taking some poses this evening where we'll move with our hips and our knees and just noticing how that feels. Whether it's a welcome pose, challenging, as long as it's not painful, then that's the main thing. And as I often say and share with you all, if we don't use it, we'll lose the ability to move in certain ways. The body will get used to not doing it, and it will realise it doesn't need to, and then so it will become more difficult. So we can have a few moments as we start our practice, being grateful, first of all, for just making it on our mat, having our breath easy, freedom to move and think, and just also explore our spiritual side as well. All our energetic layers. So as you lie there, just enjoying a few conscious breaths, the sensation around your nostrils, that expansion of the chest, the ribs, the belly. And perhaps just being aware of anything that you want to focus on with your practice this evening, or be mindful of. And when you're ready, we'll come up for seated meditation. So if you're lying down, just have a nice stretch. There's no rush here. Just maybe take the arms overhead. Have a lovely stretch as you draw the knees in as well. And rock. As you rock on your back, you can just feel what's going on in all the muscles. And then when you're ready, you can roll up to seated. So today I've had quite a busy day. I don't know how your day has been. So we'll take meditation, just a quiet one this evening, which is always lovely. You might find your mind gets busy when we're not counting or using a mantra, but it is the nature of meditation for our mind to wander, but it is also that practice that we repeat over and over again that brings us more and more slowly to a still point, and perhaps noticing the consciousness between the unconscious thoughts. And that gets bigger and wider just every now and then. So it's a lovely thing to practice. A meditation practice is to practice. So we'll do it for about 5 minutes. We'll rest our hands. We'll close our eyes. We'll just soften shoulders and through the body. And we'll simply follow the breath and follow the mind. Whatever thoughts you're thinking, just be conscious of them. Trying to stay in the moment. Let's just take a few more conscious breaths. Bring the mind back. And we can blink our eyes open. And just noticing how that practice was. Maybe part of it you were quite conscious, maybe other parts you were drifting off. Can you remember your thoughts? It always is curious to me how each session goes. So, okay, butterfly to start. So a nice gentle one to begin with, where we open up through the hips. If you want something under the legs, a couple of rolled up blankets, a couple of cushions are always nice. Even if you don't feel like you need them all the time, there might be times when you just emotionally feel that you want to be supported. So actually this evening, I'm going to grab my little blankets and just pop them there, because it does make a little difference. It feels different when there's something that you're resting on, something supporting you. Even if it's sort of psychological, it's quite nice. So let's just soften, explore how it feels to open up through the hips here, noticing the inner thighs. And gradually, as we kind of take the shape, relaxing into the upper body and shoulders too. And again here, just witnessing your thoughts, relaxing more through the head and neck. Notice where your breath is and just draw it to the belly. Feel the expansion in the chest. How do you feel in your lower back? Awareness around the hips if you're feeling sensation. Good for your gallbladder channel. When you return back to your breath, just notice how long, how many breaths you take until your mind wants to start drifting off elsewhere. And we'll take one more breath. Lifting up slowly. And noticing after all that time, just about 5 minutes in that pose, whether you actually kind of get used to being in it. There's a real familiarity of the shape. So let's just roll down. So a gentle forward bend into the body, so being aware of your lumbar back. Have just a rock or wag your tail a little just to relieve anything. And then again, it might take a fair few breaths just to feel safe enough to relax. And just following that kind of gentle release, it takes a few moments. Perhaps releasing any tightness in the abdomen can soften through the back. Relaxing the buttocks. And then deep breaths, just letting the last of it, all the tension that we're still holding, surrender to the mat. And just having a few moments to follow any chi. Now that everything is settled, that kind of stillness to notice temperature change. You might notice it around the knees, inner thighs. And then gradually let's draw the knees in. We're going to counter pose in a moment with amphibian. So another rotation of the hip on our bellies. So we'll gradually roll up. This pose, again, I'm actually going to use a little bit of cushioning under the hip crease because of just the way you end up lying on the mat. So come onto the belly. We'll start with the left leg extended forward. I think I might also use a little cushion under the ribs. And then we'll bring the right leg out to the side. So just bending at the knee and just wherever you're most comfortable, whether your knee might be higher than your hip or lower than your hip. And actually, if you do need a little bit more cushioning under the under the chest, then a pillow might be better. So, just trying to relax here. Lower into the arms if you need to soften through the lower back a bit more. And then once you're sort of in the pose, you can sort of gently adjust yourself. Start to relax. Enjoy the feelings that you don't normally feel from putting in your body into this position. And a block for the head might be quite nice. And in whatever way you can, just starting to relax. Notice if your breaths are short and shallow, or whether you can deepen them to belly and let the chest expand. As you exhale, really noticing the end of the breath so that we're aware of the full capacity of our breathing. How lucky we are to breathe. And softening through the buttocks and lower back gradually. How do you feel? Do you like this pose? Is it a pose that sort of gradually takes its time to soften you? Relaxing shoulders. And just notice if your upper arms are tense. And so almost coming up to the 5 minutes, just checking in with how your body feels in this pose from when you started. Whether there was a lot of resistance initially and it took a while to melt. Let's take a breath. And gently and very slowly coming out of this pose, straightening your legs first, and then just lifting up. Take a little moment to come onto your back. I know it is a little bit of movement, but it gives us that kind of reset. And have a nice long sigh as you roll down. Sometimes I would say not more difficult, but the more sort of odd poses can really leave us feeling quite refreshed in certain areas, certain joints. Perhaps you'll feel a bit tingly around the tops of the thighs, above the knees, inner thighs. How's your lower back feeling? Sides of the waist might feel slightly different from the different position. Has your lower back relaxed? Or are we still breathing, letting it go? So we'll draw our knees in. Enjoy a lovely rock here. Again, just exploring our lower back, our mid back as we draw knees higher. And then we'll come up for the other side. So this time with the right leg extended back, the left knee drawn upwards to, again, whatever height you want. Use a cushion under the chest. Take your time just to get into the pose. And a block. And again, just checking in with where you're happy with your elbows, that curve into your lower spine. And a few deep breaths. Nice long exhale, let go. Trying to relax through your ankles and your feet as well. Wrists and hands, all these areas we don't really think of. Noticing how you feel around your right hip, the right side of your waist. Whether the right buttock is a little bit tense. How does this side compare with the other side? Adjust yourself in any way that you need to. And again, just witness your thoughts, what's going on through your mind. Are they happy thoughts, worrying thoughts? Were you focused on your body, or the past, or the future? Perhaps the pose is starting to ease now. You're not so aware of the initial sensations. Let's just take a few more deep breaths. And gently moving your props. Just straighten your leg first before we lift up. And if you need to sort of push back into child's pose for a moment, if you just need to curve the spine before coming down, then whatever feels right for you. And take your time, just every time you're moving. Gently coming down. And enjoying that after effect. It might take a few breaths to relax. What you're just tune into what you're feeling and where you feel it. What parts of your body feel quite vibrant and spacious? So just gently hugging in. And then we're going to come up for shoelace. So with amphibian, we rotated the hip sort of in a backwards movement. And for shoelace, we're going to be kind of taking the legs across the body. Have a little cushion handy. And I kind of like to start sort of on knees, and then I bring the right leg across. And then, again, just a nice cushion nearby to support the buttocks. And then just relaxing as much as you can. This is not one of my favourites, I must say. But it's always very intriguing to me how it feels initially in the pose, and then kind of after 4 or 5 minutes, how things start to sort of ease and soften. You do definitely kind of develop that stretch. Okay, and then just resting hands. You might find that in this pose your knee is very upright. Some people will be able to get their legs ever so flat. Everyone will look really different. So tuning into your hips, this is where we're going to feel it. Lovely again for gallbladder that runs on the outside of our body here. And a nice breath. Let's just settle. Close your eyes and just feel whatever you feel. That deep stretch in the buttock around both hips. And let the head relax forward if that does become more comfortable. Breathing to belly. Relax your shoulders if they start reaching up to your ears. How do you feel? Is it getting easier? Keep trying to relax if you feel tension creeping back in. Backs of the calves, backs of the knees, inner thighs. This is a great one for your liver and kidneys. So let's just take one more breath. Just about 4 minutes in that one, a little bit less. It's quite intense, but also has that sort of wonderful, refreshing kind of feeling when you come out of the pose. So lying down. Even though we're literally crossing the legs over in a different position, it's nice to kind of come into this sort of refreshing pose so that we release that sensation and go into the next one with a fresh idea. Okay, and then softening through the back. Again, little rock or movement through your spine to let it reset. Where do you feel any tingling? Sometimes the longer you lie here in stillness, the chi sensation and temperature really develops, and you can really notice it in certain parts. Tops of the thighs, inner thighs. So let's come up again. So draw right knee in, then left one. Enjoy a nice rock here. If you need to sort of swing the knees out wide and rub the hips. Let's roll up. Other side. So again, coming onto knees perhaps to start with, cushion handy. Left leg comes in front. And then just finding that place where you can be fairly level with your sit bones. Don't worry if this sort of side of the pose looks different. Everyone's way the hip rotates will look different, feel different. So notice how your hips are feeling. They can be very linked with your future and your fear of the future, or you moving forward in life, how comfortable that feels for you. Whether the future is a sort of a comfortable known future or if it's very unknown. The body can reflect so many things. So just being aware of whether your breath feels quite shallow, whether we can bring it deeper into the belly. Is this side easier or more challenging? Trying to relax any clenching of the buttocks. If anything does start to become painful, always just ease out. Belly breathing into the lower back. And we'll take a few more breaths. Gently lifting up. And just enjoying that lovely release out of this pose. It's funny how actually, I don't know if anyone else feels the same, but initially you come into it and it feels ever so strange, but then after sort of that 4 minutes, you get used to it. It starts to feel a little bit normal. So we'll just take a few moments here to just relax, tune in, observe what's going on. Just being aware if there were parts of that particular pose you didn't mind. actually felt quite good. Try and let your lower back relax to the mat if you're keeping yourself a little bit lifted and rigid. So let's draw knees in. We're going to come into heart bench next. So where we've come forward a little bit with shoelace, this is a nice way to take the spine back gently. I always like to offer this, if heart bench is not for you this evening, then bench. Just lie over your cushion. It's a nice, softer alternative, but this evening I feel like a lovely deep stretch opening up through the thoracic part of our body. So one block behind the spine long ways, the other block just simply to kind of rest the head. And take your time. It always takes me a few goes to come down. And then even then I have to sort of position the block just so that it feels like the perfect spot. It's like how a cat or a dog turn around half a dozen times before they decide to settle. And then relaxing as much as you can, and you will soften. You'll get used to this really lovely openness. Take your arms out wide if you want to, or just if they're comfortably just lying away from your body. And this is a lovely position to just sort of breathe easily into the belly. Relaxing shoulders, try and soften the neck, and the chin is likely to tuck in. And just let your weight rest on this block. So a nice one also for heart, anything emotional, throat as well, so any difficulty communicating your emotions. If your heart's felt closed lately, then just taking the shoulders back, opening up through our heart centre is good. Enjoy how the ribs open and expand. Just notice how much you're enjoying this pose, or whether it's still a bit uncomfortable, but you know the after effects will feel good. Relaxing all the muscles in your face as well. So often everything else can be relaxed and we'll still like hold a facial expression or some tension somewhere. Let the cheeks relax, jaw and chin. So we'll take one last breath in this position, lifting your head, using your arms to support yourself, lifting up. And then we'll come down after we move the blocks. And that's the juicy bit. That lovely after effect that you get between your shoulder blades and that upper part of your back that can sometimes feel so tense. Muscle gets locked up around this area sometimes. So relax, try and release any tension and tightness in the belly. Really let the whole back soften. And everything's starting to just fade away a little bit now. And so now we'll just draw the knees in. You can stay lying down if you want to for relaxation, but just have a nice rock as we hug in. Feel your back, lower back and upper back. And so just choosing where you want to be. Lying down with a nice little blanket over you. Or you can come seated and sit in a more meditative position, whatever feels right. So starting off this practice, we had a nice quiet sort of zazen, seated quiet meditation. And to end, we've got about just under 10 minutes. And I'll just invite you to come back to that quiet space. Often we have used the mantra so hum. You don't have to say it in your mind, but as you lie there or sit there, as you breathe in, the sound will sound like so through the nostrils. And as you exhale through your nostrils, that little kind of the blowout of the air will sound like hum. So keeping the mind free of any repetition, I just want you to listen to your breath and take the breath quite sort of, not too deep, but a conscious breath. So it's not just a sort of a short in and exhale. It actually is a lovely length for listening to the so sound on the inhale and the hum sound of the exhale. And so simply, we'll just take the rest of this time to relax following this breath. So softening through and just listening to the sound of your breath. Try and stay as conscious of it as you can for as long as you can. gently now. Just noticing where your mind is. Whether it's peaceful. In the present moment. Take a deep breath and really enjoy a conscious breath. And then gradually, as you just draw your awareness back to your physical body, you can start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe rock the head gently side to side. You can roll the shoulders or just shrug them up to the ears and release again. And then gradually, if you're lying down and you want to stretch the arms overhead, nice full body stretch. And then a lovely hug in gently. Again, just taking note of how you feel through the back of your body. How you feel through the hips and the knees, all the areas that we've moved this evening. And then just you can roll up to seated in your own time. Another nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, just send your roots down as you ground into the earth. And then we can bring hands together. Om Shanti. Namaste.